Hi everyone, I'm Breezy.
And I'm Jimmy.
And we are
Sober
Disclosure.
Woo, for the fifth time.
Quite literally the fifth time. It's okay, we literally made it.
It's okay.
I know we said that last time, but here we are again. One thing about addicts is that we're not quitters.
We're not quitters.
We just quit doing
drugs
and
and alcohol.
Okay, so before we get into everything, we really just wanted to take a moment and get into what sober disclosure is. What does sober disclosure mean to you, Jimmy?
Sober disclosure to me means no boundaries. Like, you can talk about whatever you want, no judgment.
Naked.
Just the naked truth. And, people fuck up.
Yeah.
People fuck up, and we need to talk about it.
Absolutely.
No tiptoeing around. Like, I hate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this episode, as our very first episode, part 5. We really just want to get into the, what to expect from sober disclosure.
Yes.
So, for me, I wanted to start sober disclosure. I wanted to start a sober podcast and really get into the nitty gritty of that first year in sobriety. And I personally wanted to do that because I know for myself, when I am a speaker at a meeting, or even just sharing at meetings, I'm either sharing about the war stories or I'm sharing about what my life is like now. And I feel like for those newcomers in the room, they're like, okay, cool, but how do I get through another day? How do I get 30 to 60? How do I get 60 to 90, 90 to 6 months? Whatever it may be, wherever they are. And I just thinking about doing this episode this morning, I was getting anxious because it makes me really go back into that first year. And I'm like,
the beginnings.
Yeah, no wonder we don't talk about it. Because
we don't. We want to forget about it.
Yeah, it is uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable.
I made a lot of mistakes. Yeah. And the first year is so obviously important and crucial.
Yeah.
But it's very uncomfortable.
It's very
uncomfortable. What
about you? I'm the same. I sit through meetings and I just over and over hear the same thing. And very rarely someone's like, I'm with a newcomer and I'm not supposed to be with them. No one ever talks about it. And even though people are gonna be upset about it or anything, it doesn't matter. After the meeting, people surround you and they're like, hey, this is what you do. And, but I feel like no one really talks about it.
When you said they're with a newcomer, you mean dating a newcomer?
Yeah, little things like that. Or having sex with someone that is doing drugs that you find online.
That's a very specific.
I want to go to a meeting and have the problem and the solution.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's why I want to do here.
Yeah.
We want the problem and the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to be a really cool way to show perspective.
Yeah. In a funny, lighthearted way.
Yeah. And when you're talking about your war stories, you can't help but it feel sad and depressing.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about all of the crap we did in our first year,
it's funny.
It can't. You can't help but to make it funny because it's
funny.
We made it through. Yeah. We're still sober.
We're
it's
still
okay.
Sober. And people relate to that more, I think, than the past stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh my God, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, speaking of sobriety, how much time sober do you have?
My sobriety day is January 15th, 2018. So I actually can say I'm going to have 7 years. I'm confident about that.
And you know what? By the time we release our first episode,
it would be 7 years. Maybe I shouldn't have said dates and times. This is supposed to be an episode for 3 months from now.
Oh my God.
We don't know how to do this yet.
No,
but I like it.
That's funny. No, that's hilarious. And then myself, I just celebrated 9 years. My sobriety date is November 10th, 2015.
And that might change for both of us. We don't know.
What do you mean?
You know how they say you don't know your next day sober? If we relapse at any time, we'll still do the podcast.
And then we'll literally be going through our first
Yes,
year.
and then we'll get through it. We'll get
no.
through it together. I'm just playing.
Praise be. Let's not put that out into the universe. Yeah, thank you. I don't want any of that. I don't want to ever go back to that first year. Like, it's funny because it is so messy.
Just like 30 and 40-year-olds don't want to go back to when they were 21.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so true.
The emotions, everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so like just brief synopsis because our other episodes we're gonna go really deep into our first year, but like I think this episode just to allow our viewers to know who we are a little bit better. So give like a little synopsis of yourself and all the
I don't know what synopsis is.
like
like a rundown?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't graduate high school.
Are your parents still together?
My parents are still together.
Okay.
I grew up in Downey, California, the Mexican Beverly Hills. That's actually like a thing.
Okay.
But it's supposed to be funny. And yeah, my parents are still together. My dad lives in Mexico. My mom lives here in Newport Beach. And I didn't grow up a bad life. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. But my dad was in cartel. Mafia cartel. I'm not joking. I am allowed to say that now.
Okay.
Because he did what he did and now he's banished. Oh my god. Oh my god, if my brothers hear this, they're gonna be so upset. But I have to tell the truth. Because that's why we said in the beginning.
Will the mafia come after you?
No.
Like, aren't you not allowed to say if you've been in the mafia? We may have to cut this.
I don't think it's that serious.
Okay.
Yeah. You know why? Because my dad did his time.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying what they do. I'm just saying that's his story.
Okay.
Period. Moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
Breezy might not be here next week. And I grew up. I'm gay. Living with 4 brothers.
Oh my God,
so we're 5 boys.
Wow.
I know, 5 boys. They called me faggot. They called me gay. They called me fat shady because I dyed my hair blonde. And I was fat. They called me Rosie O'Donnell because I wore like strap sandals and I was fat. But I'm not a victim. I literally told my brother he was adopted. So I would make him cry more. No, he wasn't.
Oh, okay.
He just had like different features than us.
Oh,
like
so
big
he may
lips.
have had like the milkman.
Yeah. I would say stuff like that.
Okay.
Actually, I would say other stuff, but
Can't be
I can't say it. So yeah, that was my story. Long story short, my dad, he got caught for something, 3 strikes. They pulled his green card because he was with my mom, and he got sent back to Mexico. And that was during high school, and I feel like that was like a pivotal point in my whole life. I was already feeling weird, and then that I felt like, not safe. My dad's gone. All that security is gone and stuff. So yeah. So then that's when I started going downhill and using.
Are you the only gay man in
gay, alcoholic, drug addict?
Out of the 5
As
boys?
of now, yes.
More to be revealed.
More to be revealed. They're not
saints.
You know what? They are.
Oh, they are.
I mean, they
I did
drink.
meet one of your other brothers. He was the cutest thing ever.
Yeah, he's cute.
Yeah.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm the only one as of now. Doesn't mean they don't have like,
Gene.
Yeah, the gene or like tendencies, like more emotional ones. Mm-hmm. But as of now, I am the one that is actively in alcoholism and whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Not actively.
Yeah.
In the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous. Or in the rooms.
No. Actually, I talked about this with somebody, and
Oh.
they said, as long as we're not promoting AA,
It's our story.
it's okay. Like, we're allowed to say what works for us, and like, it's attraction, not promotion. We're not promoting it.
Did you talk to Bill?
Bill W. From the grave. No, I just was like,
no, I
was
understand.
I was seeking, advice from other people who have done podcasts, and they're like, as long as you just make it known that, like, we are not advertising that, like, we're strictly just talking about our own experience and stuff.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
How about you?
So I am also one of 5.
You are? I didn't know that.
So this is funny. So one of our other episodes that you'll never see, we talked about why we chose to do the podcast together, and I said, I was like, if you are like best friends with somebody and you do a podcast, like, you already know everything about that person.
That's true.
And I think it's really cool that we're doing this. Like, obviously we're really good friends, but we get to learn so much more about each other and be like, oh my God, me too. So yeah, I'm one of 5.
Did you want me to reach?
Yeah. Fingers.
Oh my God.
So my mom, not all 5 of us are from the same dad.
Okay.
Same mom. My mother has been married many times. I'm not going to expose how many times. I don't want to, that's her story. But I always grew up with that, like, hole inside of me. And I was just like, I was the chubby one. My brother was super mean to me. He would always
The one
call
that I
me
met?
names. Yeah. He would always call me names. And oh wait, I don't know which one you meant.
The one that's at the Palm Springs. Oh.
Actually, both my brothers were pretty mean to me.
Okay.
One of them would, like, chase me around with a knife, and I'd have to, like, hide in the bathroom. Like, he wasn't actually trying to kill me or anything.
No,
but, like,
I've done that before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. So, it's my sister and I, and then 3 brothers. And my sister had a different dad, so she was always with my mom. And so it was like me and my 2 brothers. My youngest brother has a different dad as well. And it was just, my mom, to me at that time, she just kind of put men ahead of us.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I just always grew up like I felt like I wasn't enough. And so I had, like, from a very early age, I remember having like suicidal ideation and just like wanting to change the way I felt. And so I would, like, at an early age started cutting and throwing up and, all of the things to, like, try and change the way I felt. And then I found alcohol, and then I was like, done.
Yeah.
One
Easier.
One of my other brothers, and I wasn't, like, doing physical damage to my body. One of my other brothers, he also is in the program, and I brought him to rehab when I was 16 years old. He was like 14. And we would go up for family week, and I remember sitting in those sessions and just being like, wow, like, I relate to all of the feelings. Like, I hadn't had the experiences yet that they were talking about. My addiction was definitely more gradual, and then but I always related to the feeling, and I would go to, like, meetings with my brother and stuff like that when I was like 17, 18, and same thing. Like, I always just felt like if there ever was a time that I wanted to stop, I knew where to go. And my dad also is in a 12-step program. And he always raised us, like, telling us, like, if this is something that you guys deal with, like, there is a place for you to go and you will be able to find help. And so that was really, really cool. Something that I always, like, felt different too was, 1 out of the 5 kids, like, my dad always wanted me to be in therapy, and I was like, okay, why me? Like, why can't?
Because you're crazy.
But as a kid,
he noticed.
Right, he knew that I, like, seriously suffered from.
She's like me.
Yeah. But it was just like I never and yeah, something that my dad would tell me is like I just don't want you to end up like your mom. And so I just always like really embodied that in my soul, was just like, don't be like mom, don't be like mom. And so I ended up going to therapy and all of the things, but thank God for that, because same as the rooms, like I've always been like, oh, therapy is not like this bad thing. Like I get to go and like talk to somebody. And I ended up getting sober at 24, which is pretty young.
That is young.
But thank God, like, I feel like I've literally aged backwards. Like last night, like I was saying, I was going through pictures and stuff from my first year,
and you look like Benjamin Button.
I literally looked old. I was like, whoa, oh my God, so scary. But I mean, this has just been like the coolest 9 years of my entire life. Like, it's such a blessing.
Nice.
Yeah.
You know what I was going to say? When you said that, I was going to say, but we do end up like our parents that we don't want to be. But then we catch it.
Yeah.
Because we're doing therapy and in the rooms and stuff. You catch it and then you're like, oh my God, this is what my dad used to do or my mom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. The sobriety is the gift of awareness, the gift of perception, like just so many gifts.
Yeah.
And I know for myself, I'm very grateful for it.
We're grateful for it. And if you want to get sober, don't listen to our podcast. Oh, wait. It sounded better in my mind. If you want to get sober, you can listen to our podcast. But do you know what I was trying to say?
Yeah. If you're looking to get sober, go to a meeting or to a professional. Don't think that just like through osmosis of listening to our podcast, you're going to get sober.
You might laugh.
This is attraction, not promotion.
Yeah. You might laugh, but this is not to get sober.
Yeah, we're not trying to get anybody sober.
This is what is it called when you seek outside help? This is outside help.
Outside help. We are not professionals. Go to a meeting.
This is suggestion.
Only. Yes. Anything that we say, it's our own experience. And we will be having guests.
We'll be having a lot of guests. Oh, we're excited about our guests.
Yeah.
Everybody's been asking us to be on our podcast.
I know.
And some people, I'm like...
No.
Well... I'm like, I don't know... You know what? Maybe we can maneuver questions into them.
Oh, yeah. No, so I also...
We don't want to, like, say no to people because I do want everyone to have a part of this, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And be like, oh, you have 1 million followers, you can be on it. No. This is an everyday, everyone podcast.
Every day.
With a few people that are maybe popular later on.
That's a disclaimer, just in case. So people can't go back and be like, well, on episode one, you said you were having famous people on your podcast.
Not yet.
Well, at the end of the day, we always do want to keep it normal people.
We do want to do everyday people, yeah.
Yeah.
We want to do everyday people.
I think people can relate so much more to the everyday person.
I think so too.
And they've shared their stories 1 million times. You know what I mean? So
I agree. Okay, so sober disclosure.
Yeah.
Our first episode.
We did it.
They say the statistics of podcasts. What is it?
Oh, like 99% of people who start podcasts never get past episode 1.
Episode 1. So like this is episode 1.
Creating it.
We started creating this, and then this is the fifth attempt.
Have you told Damon yet?
I told Damon, and he said you have a year. My husband said, you have a year for this podcast.
Oh, no, I meant, did you tell him that we didn't?
I did, and he went like this.
Like he knew.
He rolled his eyes.
So Damon is Jimmy's husband, and
This is our first episode, Damon. Thank you.
Yeah, we didn't want to tell him the other night when he came to the salon that, like, it still hadn't worked.
I know.
Because we've spent, like, probably 30 hours on this.
30 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
But we're in such a better mood today.
we're in such a better mood.
It was supposed to be this way. It wasn't supposed to be that episode. We got all the little kinkies out. Also, I want to say, I don't know, if we do end up talking about our own personal stories, at least for myself, I'm going to change people's names.
I won't. Just kidding.
So, just for anonymity, I don't want to expose anybody else's stuff. And
so what would you say? That bitch?
That motherfucker? No, just give them different names. I'll be like,
Who's-y who? What's-y what?
No.
John Doe.
John Doe!
Well, those are things you replace people.
Yeah.
Damon calls his ex Who's-y who, so he doesn't say his name.
I actually really like that.
And he goes, I was like, oh, who'd you go to this restaurant with? Who's-y who? I'm like, his ex.
He still hangs out with his ex?
No, I'm saying like,
Oh.
like if we're out, he's like, oh, I've been here. And I'm like, oh, with who?
Oh.
And then he doesn't want to, just now I don't care. But in the beginning, he's like, Who's-y who? And I'm like, oh, I already know that's code for
X.
I can't say it.
Yeah, X.
Yeah, X.
Okay.
Then we'll get canceled.
Yeah.
Cancel culture is canceled. Okay, good.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I think we're gonna wrap it up with just, if you want to be on the podcast, you have to come on and share like the insane things that you did in your first year.
Send nudes.
Send nudes.
Just kidding.
Totally send nudes. Send us like all the crazy things that you did in your first year. We want to talk about relationships, sponsorship,
first time having sex,
first time going on
first
a job
time
interview,
dating, yeah.
All of the firsts. That's what this podcast is going to be about.
First time speaking at a meeting.
First time you got sober versus
first time it actually
stuck.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Long-term sobriety within not long-term sobriety.
Mm-hmm.
Everything and anything. First relapse.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's a good one.
Thank you.
First relapse, touch on the relapse, and then what'd you do?
Back to the solution. That's our sign. People are going off into the deep end. We're like, bring it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we know you shot up heroin. We know you did meth. We know you put peanut butter on your balls for your dog. We know you shoved your finger to lick it. We know you stuck your finger in your butt when you're on meth. Like, we know all that stuff. So let's do the after.
Yeah, we don't care.
We don't care.
We literally don't care about your weird shit you do. We want to know.
This is your fourth step. This podcast is your fourth step.
Oh
Just kidding.
My God. It's your nightly inventory.
It's your nightly inventory.
Tell us all of the things. For the people that don't know what any of that is, go to a meeting.
So, this is Jimmy.
And this is Breezy.
And this is Sober Disclosure.
We love you guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.